Hey there, so we are talking today about X and Y intercepts, meaning where does a line cross the Y axis? For each graph below, write the Y coordinate, the Y intercept as a coordinate. So what we're talking about is watching this line until it hits the Y axis. What is that point? 0, 3. That is your Y intercept. You can also say B equals 3, but it specifically asked for it as a coordinate. Now this one, we've got graph A and graph B, probably representing two different scenarios. So graph A is crossing the y-axis here at 0, 6, and graph B is crossing down here at 0, negative 4. What do you notice about the x value of all the y coordinate or y intercepts? So do you notice we've got 0, 3, 0, 6, 0, negative 4. So on all of them, the x value is 0. So that's very interesting. Without graphing the equation, 4x plus 2y equals 16, you can find the y-intercept by plugging in 0 for x and solving for y. So what they're saying is we're going to pretend x equals 0, and if x equals 0, that will guarantee us a y-intercept, a coordinate on the y-axis. So 2 times y equals 16, but in front of it, see how it's 4x? We're going to do 4 times 0. So 4 times 0 is 0 plus 2y equals 16. So adding 0 doesn't do anything here. We divide both sides by 2 and get y equals 8. So if x equals 0, y equals 8, that means one coordinate that's on the line is 0, 8. That happens to be your y-intercept because x equals 0. If you were to graph this, whatever the rest of the graph looks like, we know we would have an intercept up here at 0, 8. All right. Finding the x-intercept. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised to find out that it's a very similar relationship, a very similar process. All right, the x-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the x-axis. So we're going to look at these equations, and not so much the equations, but the graph, and say, where does it cross the x-axis? So this one crosses at 4, 0. Over here, we've got the A line crossing at negative 3, 0, and the B line crossing at 2, 0. So my A-intercept, negative 3, 0, my B-intercept, 2, 0, and what do you know? They have something in common. All of the coordinates that we found as x-intercepts, the y value is 0. So without graphing the equation 4x plus 2y equals 16, you can find the x-intercept by plugging in 0 for y and solving for x. So we're going to do y equals 0 this time and get our x-intercept. So 4x plus 2 times 0 equals 16. So this time, again, we've got 4x plus 2, and then instead of that y, that's where we put the 0 in order to get our x-intercept. 4x plus 0 equals 16. Well, adding 0 does not change anything. And divide both sides by 4, x equals 4. So 4, 0 would be your x-intercept. So if we use those two pieces of information, we can graph this equation. So what we found for the two intercepts, the one that we just found on this page was 4, 0, and the one that we found on the previous page was 0, 8. So if we graph 0, 8, and we graph 4, 0, and then we connect them, that would give us the graph for 4x plus 2y equals 16. And I put the arrows on there because the points would continue on in both directions forever.